Hi everyone, I'm Zsolt from VR VR, and this is our new product, Infuse VR. This will be an introductional video, let's say a little manual about how to use Infuse VR. And first of all, thank you for joining to our beta test program. I'm very happy that we could start the beta test finally. It was a long time to start it. And I hope you will enjoy Infuse VR. If someone didn't hear about this software before, then I would just say that this is basically a streaming software like Virtual Desktop or Oculus Link or something. It's based on ALVR, which is an open source streaming software. I think it's a quite good one, but I think you should decide it. And top of this streaming software, we have a special solution for visualize your hand and your gaming accessories. Hand is important because not every software visualize your hand. Of course, it will be more and more popular in the future. So this function won't be super important in the future, but now it could be important because most of the important VR games are not really supporting hand visualization. And we can visualize not just your hand, but your gaming accessories and lots of other stuffs which are important during the gameplay, like PC virtual keyboard or mouse or the time, just a clock and stuffs like that. So I think it's very exciting, but let's see it instead of talking about that. So if you didn't join yet to the beta test program, you can just click here. This is our website, so you can type infusevr.com, and there is a link which will direct you to the Steam store, the Infuse VR Steam store. And if you scroll down in the Steam store, then you will find a box with the text that join the Infuse VR playtest, and you should just push the request access. And then if you go to your Steam account into the library, then you will see there the Infuse VR playtest application. You should just click on it, of course, and install it. The server software is not so big, so it will install it very quickly. But after you start the application, then SteamVR will launch as well because it's necessary for Infuse VR. And then you should be a little bit careful because when you start the software first time, then Infuse VR will just connect to our server and will start to download the 3D models for your gaming accessories. So maybe it makes sense to wait until everything is downloaded, but it will goes in the background, so you can use the software until the downloading is in progress. Okay, so here is the software, and the first thing what you should do is to install the client application to your headset. If your headset is a standalone Android-based headset like Pico or Quest 2 or 3, then this application should run on it smoothly. But we could test it, honestly, we could test it on Quest 2 and Quest 3, and one of our friends says that it is running smoothly on Pico as well. If you want to install the client application to your headset, first you should connect the headset to your PC via USB cable, and please make sure that your headset will be in developer mode, because this is the way how you can install Infuse VR client application. Later on, we want to appear in the Pico and maybe Oculus Store. So the installment will be easier without developer mode, but right now this is the only way. So after you connected your headset to the PC, you should just click on the install latest client APK. Sometimes we don't really have real feedback here about the installation, but don't worry, you should just check the headset after a few seconds or minutes, and you will see if it installed or not, but usually it installed. If the installation is succeeded, then let me show you very quickly what the server application is about. So we have here the connection tab. Here you can see right now the initial setup is Wi-Fi streaming, but it is possible to switch to USB streaming. So if you connect your headset to your PC via USB cable, then you can just turn the streaming to USB, and it will be a little bit faster. Especially on my computer, it's a big difference between Wi-Fi and USB streaming. There are some other menu points in the left. For example, here is the next one is USB controllers. So if you connect any USB accessory to your PC, let me just connect very quickly joystick, then the device immediately will appear in the connected controller list, and from that point you can use it in Infuse VR. And here is another button, Open Viewer button. With that you can just open up the USB input viewer, which can be important in some cases, not always, but here you can test your accessory if it works well, or you can just check what axis assigned to what kind of parameters. So for example, here the X and Y axis are used by this Trustmaster joystick, what I'm using now. And also there is a slider, and this is assigned to the slider's 0 USB parameter. It can be important if you want to create your own 3D model and you want to include into Infuse VR. We also have 3D model library. Here you can simply make connection between the 3D models in Infuse VR and the physical accessories. So for example, here I have the Trustmaster joystick, but as you can see, it's not really assigned to any input. So if you want to use this joystick inside Infuse VR, then you should connect the 3D model and the accessories. So you have to just drop down this menu and choose the T16000 Trustmaster joystick, and from that point this 3D model is connected to this physical accessory. So if you will move the joystick, I mean use the joystick, then it will make the same movement inside Infuse VR. By the way, this is just an initial 3D model library. We are going to build up, or we are planning to build up, a huge 3D model library. So this list will be extended continuously. We will add new models basically on weekly basis. And if you need any specific model, please let us know. And which is for us maybe more important, if you have any 3D model, or you can make a scanning with your iPhone about your existing 3D model, it would help a lot when we build up the 3D model. If we have a 3D scan about that, then the sizes and the position of the buttons will be correct, because right now these are very draft 3D models. So please understand if the actual model is not perfectly fit with your device, or not functioning very well, because it's possible that, for example, the USB inputs are wrong because we don't have all the devices, all the accessories in-house, so we couldn't test everything. But for example, some Logitechs and Trustmaster and stuffs like that we have in-house. So some 3D models are correct and precise, but some others could not well functioning in terms of visualization or movements and stuffs like that. So please help us in this topic. Yeah, and here are two other menu points. One is motion compensation and cockpit calibration. If you don't mind, I make a separated video about these functions, because these are a bit complicated, or not complicated, but not a simple topic to discuss quickly. So in 1 or 2 days, there will be new video about these functions. And of course, here are AR, VR settings. As I told you guys, the streaming part of Infuse VR is built on AR, VR streaming software. And here are lots of settings. I mean, you can set basically really everything. I never touched this part, but if you want to learn a little bit about that, please visit ARVR website, and there you can get manuals, and even you can find manuals on YouTube as well. Basically, it's a very flexible streaming software. You can set up everything, but the basic setup is also great. So usually I didn't touch this menu point at all. So this is the server software. And now let me just connect the client software. And for that, we should take on the headset and go to the library. And here you should just choose the unknown sources. And here you will find Infuse VR, and you should just click on it. Allow the accesses. And at the first start, usually the Steam VR is restarting immediately. I don't know exactly why is this happening, but as I told you, the streaming is an AL VR solution, so that is how it works. And sometimes I would just tell you that sometimes after the restart, the connection is not established immediately. Sometimes I have to restart the server and the client application as well. So now I'm really lucky that I could just start immediately the streaming. And let's go back to the connection tab on the PC. Yeah, and as you can see, there is the streaming indicator on the trusted client side, and that shows that the streaming is functioning well. Okay, inside the headset, you can see immediately that you can see your hand very well, let's say. And if you look at on the right side, then you will see the small Infuse VR icon. And basically that where we start everything. So you should just click on this button, and immediately will appear the main screen front of you. And on the left side, you can see the 3D models. So we have 3D models like regular one, I mean 3D accessories, but we also have some special stuffs like Infuse accessories. These are virtual accessories. We have static accessories, which are not connected to any USB accessories. These are just to visualize something on your desk or something. And we have the regular 3D devices like joysticks, Trustmaster, Logitech, CH, and stuffs like that. We have throttles, we have wheels, and we also have yokes. And as you can see, we have just a few one. So we will extend this list so much in the future. And we would like to ask your help for that as well. As I told you before, that we would be very happy if you could tell us if if some existing device or 3D models has some issue, like in terms of visualization or USB input assignment, and if you have 3D models or you can scan it, just please help us to extend this list. Okay, the most important part why we develop this software is to visualize your joystick or anything. So let me just open up something. So for example, this Logitech joystick. And this Logitech joystick will appear immediately in front of you, but it's not moving. If I try to move, here is on my right side joystick. If I try to move it, it's not moving. So we have to go back to the PC side. I mean the server side, and assign to the Logitech X56 the USB. So let me go back very quickly. Go to the 3D model library. Find the Logitech, so this is a stick, Logitech X55, and okay, I will assign to the T16000, and immediately after I assigned, you can see that the device is changed its position. The stick changed its position, and now if I move my hand, the joystick is moving. Now, what I should do is the joystick is somewhere here on my right. Sorry, I don't have camera feed now to show it in the real life, but you will understand. And here is the virtual one. So we have to just push the settings button here. The options will, or the app options button, the options menu will open up. And in this case, you can move the 3D model. If you pinch your fingers, then it's immediately will move. So I should just move it to here somewhere. For that, I grab the joystick with my one hand, and I will move the joystick to there. And now it's in sync immediately. In that case, I would suggest to turn off the translate button, because then you won't be able to move the 3D model accidentally. Here are lots of other menu points. So, for example, you can rotate the device. So, for example, I can just rotate it if I wish. You always can just reset the settings if you make some unintentional settings. You can just set it in step by step if you wish, because it's not super easy to use your hand, because it can a little bit shake, but it's okay. Or if you want to make precise movements, then you should just use your controller, because that is much smoother. So if you want with that, you can just move it much more smoothly. But honestly, the hand is much more comfortable. So let me just still using my hand. You can just change the colorization. You can turn on or off the X-ray. You can change the opacity and stuffs like that. So basically, these settings are speaks themselves, so I don't have to explain it so much. And you can just go back to the main menu by pressing this X button, or if you want to use your left hand, then you can just click here. Both of the buttons goes back to the main menu. Okay, so this is how you can just place an accessory on the desk or in the space. And what is interesting here, that you will see the same stuffs when you start any game. So basically the basic idea is that we have a streaming software and we just put a 3D layer top of the streaming. And that's why we can just put anything into the game. Okay, so these are the basics. Let me just show you how to switch to USB connection. So for that, I have to go back to the PC side. And it's very simple. You should just go to the connection tab and simply click the USB streaming. And the server will immediately restart. It will restart the Steam as well. So sometimes you have to click on the Infuse button on the bottom because the focus sometimes lost. And we should wait until the connection. Sometimes it's possible that the client will freeze or won't be able to connect. Don't worry, just restart it, and after a while it will work well. Hopefully, AR VR will be much stable in the future, but it's basically stable. Just sometimes these kind of functions not perfectly functioning. But now, as you can see, I'm back, and this is already a USB stream. It's a little bit more stable on my network, but maybe if you have a very good network, you won't be able to recognize any difference between USB and Wi-Fi streaming. So I'm back, and if I try to catch my joystick, you can see that the 3D model and the physical accessory is not on the same place anymore. It's because if you don't calibrate anything, just leave the 3D device in the space, then we usually save the device position, the 3D model position, relative to the menu point. So what we can do, we can save a reference point for the calibration. For that, push the save controller reference point. And for that, of course, I will need a controller, but especially we need the left controller. We have to place it on a certain place in the space. And if we are ready with that, then we should just push the trigger button. And as you can see, this white controller shows that it's already saved, calibrated. And that means from that point, the joystick 3D model position will not be saved relative to the menu point, but will be saved relative to the controller. So that means if you have, for example, a controller holder fixed on the table, then you can just put the controller on it and push the trigger button, and the joystick, the 3D model, will always positioning perfectly as before. So it helps you to make sure that every accessory will overlap the physical accessories. After you save the controller reference point, then you should go to the profiles menu and click on the profile name, and a virtual keyboard will appear, and you should just write there that, for example, test. And after you finished, you should just push the save button. You can see that the test profile was saved, and we use now the test profile. So if I close the software and start it over with a different calibration, let me show you Infuse VR. We should wait until the streaming is started. Then as you can see, the joystick is not really in the right place. Let me just make a calibration. So in that case, you should come here to make a calibration. So I place the controller to the same